Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Uncanny X-Men 152 from 1981. Cover here by Bob McLeod, featuring the White Queen Storm versus the Storm White Queen. How's that? So we got the X-Men all here kind of looking. Bob McLeod, who will be the New Mutants artist, is the cover artist here. This is the cover in which I encountered this story in the classic X-Men. So, here we go. Bob McLeod is the guest penciler. Oh my goodness gracious. I can't believe I forgot his name. Dave Cockrum will return next issue. So, the Hellfire Gambit. So here we have the White Queen who has taken over Storm's body. I do have a playlist, so feel free to check it out. Chris Claremont is the writer, and Joseph Rubinstein is still the inker. We do have a different letterer, so Tom Orzechowski is not lettering this, one of the few issues that he takes off here. So you can see here Storm hitting this Porsche here. And inside the Porsche are Kitty Pryde and Storm. So Storm and the White Queen all changed places. So the White Queen says, finding their getaway car after I'd informed them of Ororo's and the girl's escape was no problem. Stopping it, especially without harming the occupants, is. Ororo's driving like a maniac, and my control over her elemental powers is less than absolute. So, look at this. Look at Kitty's face. My goodness gracious. And so, Kitty had been knocked out, so now she sees that she's awake and sees the White Queen, who she does not know that it's Storm. And Storm tries to talk to her, but of course she just sees the White Queen, and Kitty faces sort of outside, and Storm can't hold on to her. And so you can see here, come back here before you, goddess. And so Storm says, or thinks here, she's made her entire body ephemeral. My hand passes right through her. And so eventually you see the car here going through, and the White Queen yells no as Storm, and you can see Kitty has faced out. She's like, cripes. And so she's going to try, of course, the White Queen's going to want her body back, but she's like, the gas tank exploded. I was too close. I've been caught in that fireball. I'm burning. What should I do? I've got to get away. A wind. I'll summon a wind to blow me to safety. And so, whoosh, here it comes. And Chris Claremont lets us know it's a jet stream blast. So it's not just any little old wind. It's a jet stream blast. So, and here we got Kitty still phasing through. Storm. That was Storm. She must have been trying to rescue me. Way to go, Storm, but what's wrong with her? When that wind hit, she acted like she didn't know what was happening. I may have landed in one piece, but if I want to stay that way, I'd better not relax my concentration till I've pulled myself free of these trees and rocks. And so here, she kind of hangs onto her head because it's in pain here. I wonder what would happen if I solidified inside something. Could I even do it? I'd rather not. I'd rather not know. And then she's like, oh, my head. And so we're going to get some exposition. So we're not going to cover it. As I mentioned, I have a playlist with the X-Men. So feel free. So this basically is recapping us the last issue. So, all right. But what am I doing here? Wherever here is, where was the White Queen taking me, and why, with the resources of the Hellfire Club at her command, transport me herself in a dinky little sports car? Hey, that is no way to say a Porsche's dinky little sports car. That sound and explosion. Wow, that wind gust of storms scattered burning gasoline all over the place. It started a forest fire. There's nothing I can do to put it out. I better make tracks and climb to the high ground so I can signal Storm when she comes back. And so here you see the Miss Frost. She must have been thrown out of the car too. She's lying on the edge of the fire. If I don't pull her away from there, she'll probably die fast. So what? She probably deserves it. She's a crook. She'd do anything to harm the X-Men. Why should I risk my life for her? And then Kitty remembers. Yeah, but I'm supposed to be a hero. I'm supposed to be better than her. But if I save her, she could use her telepathic powers to make me prisoner as well as capture Ororo again. What should I do? The fire's getting worse. One way or another, I've got to decide now. So, lots to think about. And so here goes Storm back to the mansion here. And it says here, she's in a foul mood. So, if there is a Hades Ororo, I pray you rot in it forever. And so Sebastian comes through. I gather, my pet, that things didn't go so well. The car crashed. I panicked, lost control of Ororo's powers, was blown miles away by rogue wind. When I returned to the forest, the forest was a blazing inferno. The car melted slag. I searched for any sign of Ororo and the brat without success. My body's gone, Sebastian. I'm trapped in this one. Not so, Emma. You used that persona exchange gun to switch your consciousness with Storm's, so that you could then infiltrate the X-Men and destroy them within. So this is exposition for the reader. There's no way that you would see them talking like this. So again, this is for the reader. More of what happened. The device functioned perfectly. If you wish, the process could be repeated with someone else. True, you're no longer a telepath, but you still possess beauty, youth, and the power of a goddess. If you ask me, I think Ororo would make an exquisite White Queen, and the two kiss here. So, and so, here, Kitty is talking and with Storm here, but of course she doesn't know it's Storm here. Remember, you try to use your psi powers, and I'll run, and you can stay here and starve or be eaten by wolves. I won't care. He says, I won't harm you, kid. Don't call me that. You haven't the right. Why won't you believe me? Why should I? Kitty, I am Ororo. The White Queen ambushed me at her school and used a special gun to switch minds. She inhibits my body. I'm in hers. Prove it. Ask me any question. Things only I, Ororo, would know. You're a telepath. You read thoughts. You could have learned the answers a year ago when Storm was your prisoner. You could pull them from my head now. Very well, then. I can't establish my bona fides. Help me in spite of that. So, and Kitty's like, fat chance. Kitty, the Hellfire Club plans an all-assault on the X-Men tonight. It may already be underway. If you don't cooperate with me, our friends may be hurt, or killed, or worse. Can you afford to take that risk? And she says, how can I be sure? Little one, in this life, nothing is sure. All right, you made your point. I'll untie you. And Storm says, no need. I was slipping out of tighter bonds than this before you were born. And she's like, Ororo taught me that knot. She said it was foolproof for anyone but her. Yet Miss Frost untied it easily. Maybe she is telling the truth. I'll go along with her, but I won't trust her. As far as I'm concerned, she's guilty till proven innocent. And so we're back at the X-Mansion here, and Colossus says, it has been hours since they defeated us. Why are they keeping us here? And Wolverine says, who knows, Colossus? Maybe they're busy getting rid of the Sentinels we trashed. And again, poor Cyclops is again wearing that head thing. They wouldn't have beaten us at all, Wolverine, had it not been for Storm. Why did she turn on us? And Leland says, why not ask the lady herself, Nightcrawler? And so this is Amanda Sefton, by the way. Storm, she's dressed as the White Queen. I don't believe it. Why, Nightcrawler? The path of righteousness and virtue have become a frightful bore. I merely decided the time was ripe to learn how the other half lives. And you know what, my friends? I like it, she says. What a crock, lady. And he goes, Urgh. And Leland says, you have a big mouth, Wolverine. It's time someone taught you proper manners. And Harry Leland is just the man to Ugh, he says. You and who else, Tubbo? And this guy goes here. Since you asked, Shorty, us. It's been a while since we met beneath the Hellfire Club. You cut me up. You cut me and my men up pretty good. We might have died. That was in X-Men 133, which I covered. I have every issue starting with Giant Size X-Men, which I covered as Classic X-Men #1, and all the Classic X-Men afterwards. I quit doing Classic X-Men once the exposition pieces and the backup stories were done. Um, I have all these issues in one form or another, either on trade paperbacks, Classic X-Men, or the originals. I actually have both Classic X-Men version of this story, and I actually own also the original issue. So I think I actually bought the issue this year for $3. So I was like, cool. And so they continue here and go, but we didn't. Now we got powers and strength to match your own, and tonight we're going to use them to pay you back for what you did with interest. So, of course, these guys are going to end up coming back with the Reavers in many, many issues down the road. So, and Professor X says, Storm Shaw, you must put an end to this in the name of humanity. And Shaw says, what an odd request, Professor, especially since it concerns Wolverine, who knows nothing of humanity. Forget him, X-Men. His fate is sealed. As for the rest of you, as soon as my technos have finished looting Xavier's databanks, you'll all be transported to the Hellfire Club installation, where you'll be our guests for the rest of your natural lives. And Cyclops, Nightcrawler, he's thinking here, gloat away, Hershaw. You may think us helpless, but we're not. We possess an asset you are completely unaware of. My lady friend, Amanda. I like how they say lady friend. So, all right. So now we're here outside here, and they're hiding. So here's Stevie Hunter. And she says, the gates are closed and locked. There's no sign of anyone about. And Storm says, they're there. Take my word for it. I'm picking up thought patterns. A squad of mercenaries. Keep going, Stevie. They're watching us. And here goes Kitty. I can't see anything, you guys. And Storm yells, Kitty, are you insane, child? Phasing through the door like that? Why not simply announce our presence at the top of your lungs or shoot off flares? We're outnumbered and outgunned, Kitty. Our only hope is to take them completely by surprise. And she says, I'm sorry, I didn't think. No, you didn't. You're an X-Men, young lady, and you better, and if you want to survive, you better start acting like one. And she goes, whew, that's a storm if I've ever heard one. No one can be that good of an actress. I'm beginning to believe her, she says. So Chris Claremont lets us know we're about a mile away. And Storm says, stop here, Stevie. This is as far as you go. And thanks for answering my call for help and driving us upstate to pick us up. When a voice pops into your head and says, come out running, it's kind of hard to ignore. And Storm says, if you've heard no word from the X-Men by sunrise, contact Charles' associate, Maura McTaggart, and tell her everything I've told you. She'll handle things from that point on. And Stevie says, I hope it won't come to that. And Storm says, so do I. And Kitty says, bye, Stevie. Thanks for standing by us. Frankly, kiddo, your life scares the beans out of me, but you're friends, and I stand by those I love no matter what. And Storm still has those motherly feelings. Kitty's feelings are as strong for Stevie as for me. Stevie is an extraordinary person. I'm proud to call her my friend, yet I'm still jealous of the bond between them. Possessing Emma Frost's telepathic talent and being able to sense their thoughts and emotion only make things worse. It's unfair to Stevie, unworthy of me, yet I can't help myself. I've come to think of Kitty as my own child. I resent having to share her. So suddenly you see Sebastian kind of toss the car. She's like, surprise, surprise, whom we have here? And I almost said Storm. So, oh my God. The White Queen says, Sebastian Shaw, meet Stevie Hunter, a friend of the X-Men's. You're a long way from home, darling. If you know what's good for you, I suggest you tell us what you're doing here. So, we also see some screen tones that are being used. And so, back in the danger room. Felt that, did ya, punk? Good. You've been rebuilt. Sorry, we've been rebuilt in your image, Wolverine, with bionic limbs capable of punching through armor plate. Your bones may be laced with adamantium, making them virtually unbreakable. But even you, hey, Cole, you talk to Flamin' much, as Wolverine kind of moves him away. I don't need claws to ice you, Leland, and I do not need assistance to deal with you. Or have you forgotten my mutant power? Gives me absolute power over the math of both things and people. With each passing second, your math doubles. Beg for mercy. Perhaps I will spare you. You can go to... as he falls here. And so, here we have Leland. That little man was something of a disappointment. I hope to prolong his agony for days. Let his death be a lesson to you, X-Men. Step out of line and you'll suffer the same fate. And Colossus is like, Wolverine dead? Sleep well, Tovarish. You will be avenged. And so, here's Amanda Sefton doing something. So it says here, while the X-Men reel in shock and disbelief, Amanda Sefton allows herself the slightest smile and continues to trace tiny mystic sigils in the air. Her movement masked by her the bodies of her fellow prisoners, while whispering ancient words of power. As far as she is concerned, all this is going according to plan. So, something's up. So Claremont tells us we're a mile away. It says here, Kitty, the hangar's empty, no guards anywhere, but the surface entrance is locked. I can disrupt the circuits by phasing through them, but that'll probably set off all sorts of alarms. And Storm thinks, I could unlock the door, but I've no way of reaching it. Kitty can reach it, but she lacks my skill as a thief. If there was only a way of seeing through my eyes. And then she goes, perhaps there is. She just realized she's in the body of a telepath. So she does what telepath does, and Kitty's like, what are you doing? Get away from me. And she goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was trying to establish a temporary psionic rapport between us, like Professor Xavier does when he wants to teach me stuff. I understand, but he knows what he's doing. He almost fried my brain, she says. So it says here, Storm tries again, and this time she feels successful. So down she goes. And so Kitty thinks here, I'm not happy with this. I don't like the idea of anyone poking inside my head, but the longer I'm with Miss Frost, the more sure I become that she's really Ororo. And Ororo I trust with my soul. So you can see here we have a Storm overlooking Kitty as she's doing the whole thing, and here we get exposition that, you know, Kitty's all worried and stuff, but Storm gives her some confidence. So, and she goes, this requires total concentration, but I'm used to that kind of stress. The same sort of absolute control and focus is necessary when I manipulate the weather. But of course, behind her is Emma. So, pardon us for disturbing you, young lady, but I do believe you're trespassing. And so she's using the her wind powers and sending her right through to Sebastian here. So lightning, there's a huge storm brewing. Doesn't she realize it? And oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I get confused. So the White Queen says, Sebastian, look, it's Ororo. She's alive. Excellent, my dear. But if she survived the wreck, it stands to reason that her brat did too. Where is Kitty Pryde? And suddenly they're moved here. Ah, bless you, kitten. Your timing is perfect, thinks Storm. Seal the hatch, Kitty. Shaw and the White Queen are right behind me. Gotcha. And so Shaw goes, return to the mansion, Emma. Take the unconscious Miss Hunter with you. Warn the others. I'll deal with this problem. Before you go, strike me with a lightning bolt. My mutant metabolism will absorb its kinetic energy, which should give me more than sufficient strength to rip this hatch out of the ground. So, and here goes Kitty. And she goes, the rapport faded away, just like Ororo said it would. We're each on our own now. She stayed behind to try to slow Shaw down. Hope she's okay. I better be careful myself. The guards have been alerted. They're looking for us. I wonder where they're holding the X-Men. Come here, kid. And she's like, of course we know who it is because, hey, we see these three things. And she goes, "Shush, short stuff, it's me, Wolverine, but I heard the guards say you'd been killed." And Wolverine says, "Funny, I heard some bozo make the same crack about you." "Oh, Logan, I'm so glad to see you." "Likewise," he says. So here we get the explanation. I'll just read it here. Unknown to everyone, Amanda, a sorceress of no mean ability, cast a spell during the fight in the danger room, which gave Wolverine the appearance of death. Ignorant of her ability, the Hellfire Club has yet to realize anything's wrong. And Wolverine says they're getting set to ship the X-Men out, Kitty. We've got no time for anything fancy, so listen up. Here's what we're gonna do, he says. So, her attack a minute later is effective. It is direct. She phases through all of them prisoners, disrupting the electromagnetic locks on their inhibitor collars, releasing them. "Kitty, hold still, Cyclops. I'll have you free of your mask." And so, enjoy the moment, heroes. It won't last. All I need to do is increase your mass enough to make it impossible for you to move. That ploy may be effective against my friend's villain, but I'm armored for. I'm not to be held easily. And he uses, you can see here, he does like the Hulk where he hits the ground, knocking him off. And so, Nightcrawler teleports and he goes, "You may increase my mass all you wish, Her Leland. Of course, considering where I am, that might not be the brightest moves. On the other hand, you aren't the brightest of people. This is for Wolverine, swine." And he hits him. So you can now see the X-Men are battling everybody here. And he goes, "Cyclops, on the doorway, another one." And Wolverine comes in and says, "Leave him to me, Elf." "Wolverine, it can't be. You're alive." And so you can see here, I think this could be Cole or the other one. "That situation can be easily remedied," he says. So, want to bet, Cole? "Go ahead, crazy man, gut me. You'll be doing me a mercy. All me and my partners lived for was seeing you dead, Wolverine. If we can't have that, it's better to die ourselves." And Wolverine says, "Why? Because I cut you months ago? At that time, you were trying to kill me, remember?" "Yeah, and because of that, you did. That made us freaks, part human, but mostly machine. Is that all? Man, you're pathetic. So what if you're bionic? There are worse fates. You're alive, Cole. A thinking, breathing, feeling being. Or at least you're supposed to be. Artificial parts, mechanical limbs can't take that essential humanity away. Just flesh and blood can't give it to you. You could grant your wish, bub, but I could grant your wish, bub, but I won't. You aren't worth the effort." So Wolverine's not going to kill him, but an eloquent statement, Wolverine. "Shall I carve it on your tombstone?" And Wolverine says, "You can try, Shaw. Vamoose Crawler, you're no match for the big man." And there's Storm. "Nor you, madman. He'll snap your bones like rotten twigs." And so, we got Cyclops thinking here. Sorry, I almost said Wolverine. Cyclops says, "She's right. We dare not attack Shaw directly. The harder we hit him, the stronger he gets. But if I use my optic blast to shove him off balance into Peter's arm," and so you can see it, "Colossus, a fastball special, toss him into the lake," and so he does. So, with luck, he should burn off a fair chunk of his power just to swim him back to shore. And he'll be out of our hair long enough for us to deal with his compatriots. Surrender, Odoto. I have no wish to hurt you. A pity, Nightcrawler, that feeling isn't mutual. And so, by the White Wolf, the wind. So, and she, or lightning hits Shaw here, and she screams, "No, it isn't possible. He's down. He isn't moving. No power on Earth could do that." As I feared, the White Queen's indiscriminate use of my ability has triggered a wild weather effect. The bolt that struck Shaw filled him with more raw energy than his system could assimilate. The overload has either stunned or slain him. So, if this storm isn't brought under control quickly, we'll be next to fall. I can sense Frost's terror. She's trying to reassert her mastery over the elements, but she's out of her depth. She doesn't really know. And the White Queen yells, "No, don't, get away." And Storm says, "I must. Stop fighting me. Let me into your mind. I have been one with the wind since I was born. Let me guide you. Trust me, Frost. It's our only hope." And so, They do. And after the battle's over, here comes but is it Storm or the White Queen? And so Colossus says, they're over the lake. Look, the Frost Woman is falling. My friends, I cannot reach her. The kid told me what happened. Frost switched minds with Storm. Ororo must be fighting the reverse uh, process. But did she succeed, or is the White Queen falling, or Storm? So she saves um, her and says, "Part of me wanted to let you drop, but there you are, Miss Frost, on dry land. So it looks like it worked. By morning, the storm you inadvertently created will be no more than a memory, and so will Wind Rider. Will you?" And she uses her psionic powers. "You wield your powers with consummate skills, but so do I. I know your mind as well. I know my own. You cannot resist my telepathic assault." But Storm uses her lightning bolts. "Once, O Majesty of Evil, that may have been so, but no longer." And Storm electrocutes her. "You made me your slave, your unwitting puppet. You used me, but from this instant I am free." And she's naked again. Somehow they always get Storm naked. "Ororo, Professor, I'm frightened. She doesn't look human," says Kitty. "She's like a real goddess." And Cyclops says, "Someone give me a hand. Shaw's power saved him from being burned, but he's barely breathing." And Storm is pissed, so she's like, "Hear me, Emma Frost. As a child, I swore never again to kill, but tonight I'll break that vow. You have committed a heinous, unforgivable crime. In stealing my body, you perverted a trust as old as the earth itself. You will pay for that in blood." And Wolverine, of all times, goes, "Ororo, no." And Storm says, "Stand aside, Wolverine." And Wolverine says, "And watch you destroy yourself? Not flaming likely. Anyone can kill Princess. It's easy. I know. I know. What takes courage, strength, what separates the humans from the animals is not killing. Some people are warriors, darling, born to kill. That's me. Some exist to show us there's a better way. That's you. There's so much beauty in you, Rodo. It'd be a shame to spoil it for the likes of her." And so we get to our last part here. And Storm says, "It's strange hearing such philosophy from your lips, my friend, but your point is well taken." And Kitty says, "Shall we call the police?" And Storm says, "No, kitten. We cannot expose the Hellfire Club without exposing ourselves, but neither can they expose us. In our mutual fear of discovery lies mutual safety. Is that not so, Emma?" And the White Queen says, "I'll keep silent, Ororo. You have my word. The inner circle, the secret evil heart of the Hellfire Club, is nothing without Shaw. Until he recovers, if he recovers, you have nothing to fear from us." And Kitty Pryde, "You want the brat, to the victors go the spoils." But we get some thoughts here. "But I swear, Wind Rider, with all my heart and soul, that though we've lost this battle, the war between us shall not end until the X-Men are both dead and damned." So, next issue, Cockrum returns. And it's a story I'm not too thrilled about, but I am still going to cover it because we're covering the Chris Claremont era the first Chris Claremont era. So, all right. Uncanny X-Men 152. Chris Claremont, Bob McLeod, and Joseph Rubinstein. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.